As I mentioned in the first Nepal video, the traditional start of the Annapurna Circuit is Besisahar. But at the start of this video, we've already driven 6 kilometers past there to the entrance of the Annapurna Conservation Area. While we waited for Raj, our guide, to get our permits, I got out of the Jeep to stretch my legs. These ingenious cement slabs serve as a sidewalk as well as drainage covers. I imagine it makes maintaining storm drains a lot easier. The official guide company's itinerary had us starting the trek at Sainaji, which knocked off 13.5 miles from the traditional trek. But we drove right past there to the village of Jagat, which knocked off another 3 miles. We got to our first tea house at sunset. Since it was available, I had a shower right away and then joined Luis, Jose, and Raj for dinner after dark. I had my first Dhanyabaad in country. It's a national dish of Nepal. All the guides and porters eat it for nearly every meal. We were still at low elevation, so it was served with chicken. At this point, Dhanyabaad still seemed exotic, so I thought it was great. This would be a relatively late night because of the long drive. Before going to bed, Raj told us to meet at the dining hall at 7 a.m. for breakfast. This would be the norm for the rest of the trek. In the middle of the night, I was kept awake by a rooster who hung out behind the tea house. I had my standard breakfast the next day, a type of bread, this time chapati, and an omelet. In Nepal, an omelet's just a plain frittata with nothing in it. I was packed and ready to go before breakfast, so I wandered around Jagat while we waited for Jose and Luis. There was a little garden and a walking trail that I didn't take. I wonder if this was the rooster that woke me up at 2 a.m. I saw corn drying from a balcony for the first time. I watched some guys play badminton for a while. Just before 8, we were walking out of Jagat. Most of the Annapurna Circuit follows the road. The road the army built often followed the historic circuit route. In other places, the route has gone into disrepair because the road is more convenient. I had to stop and check out the first waterfall we passed. Raj assured me in a short while I wouldn't be very impressed by it. After just an hour, we came to Chamche waterfall. Raj told us it was the most beautiful fall on the entire circuit. Near Chamche is Chamje, or Chamji. I saw a rooftop beehive there. Until Raj told me, I didn't realize how important honey is to Nepal. Do yourself a favor and Google honey hunters of Nepal. According to the itinerary, we were supposed to stop at Chamje, but instead we left the road and crossed the Mar Sangdi River. We'd parallel the river for 4 days until we got to Manang. The first suspension bridge was a lot of fun, but really every suspension bridge is fun. After the bridge, we'd be off the road for the first time. Here the trail is well maintained because it is more convenient than the road. At one point we got a good view of the road we left behind on the other side of the river. At the top of our first serious climb, we stopped at a tea house for a break. I loved this signage. Clean room with quiet and wealth environment. The proprietors used the tea house's subfloor as a goat pen. Raj picked up a giant cucumber, cut it up, and shared it with us. After the tea house, we had another climb and our first goat encounter. We could still see the road on the other side of the river. The road's engineering and the power of the river was quite impressive. As we continued our climb, we came across a very informative sign. It had the timings and altitude of all the points of interest up to the most challenging obstacle of our trek, the Orang Long Pass. Right after the sign, we crossed into the outskirts of Tal, where we had lunch and a good long break. After lunch, we crossed the river again. Back on the road, we got a really good view of Tal. We also saw a crew working on a new suspension bridge. The canyon narrowed quite a bit, so the road walk was really close to the river. This afforded great views that demonstrated the power of the river. As we approached another village, we witnessed a bustling construction site. Someone graffitied a rock at the construction site, but Raj didn't want to translate what it said to us. It was great to see this building in mid-construction. All the work is done by hand, and the craftsmanship is really intricate. Right around here, you could see other trails branching off. One of them had an amazing suspension bridge that loomed high above us. Day one, we had already seen a lot of wild and semi-wild marijuana growing. Raj told us that smoking is illegal, but officials turn a blind eye towards tourists. and some locals will use it during the festivals to get closer to God. Raj presented us with little bananas that I think he picked up when he carved up that giant cucumber. So I snacked on that as we continued to walk. We ended our day at Bagarchhap a little after 5. Bagarchhap was supposed to be the end of our second day of hiking, so we were now a day ahead of the itinerary. We hiked 12 road miles, although we weren't on the road the entire time, so it was probably a little less. We started at Jagat, which was at 4,000 foot elevation, and we ended at around 7,000 feet. The first day was really something. I took twice as many pictures and videos on the first day of hiking than I did on the 4 days it took me to get from home to the Annapurna Circuit area entrance. Everything was so new and different. I had to capture it all.